TV1.
I will never like you.
Oh my God.
Roland Martin.
Through these questions, having a discussion, we gonna try to flesh this thing out. I want to be productive, but this all comes out of, Lovey, Issa Rae, I believe a girl named Seals or something, Amanda Seals, a whole group of people who have commandeered, in a way, African Americanness and African American DOS culture, and I believe in all the wrong ways. We're gonna go through some questions. Number one, will Black Americans DOS have to draw new lines of engagement with newer immigrants? Number two, is there a real problem with the tweets by Lovey Ajayi on black culture as a Yoruba Nigerian? We'll get to that. Your thoughts on Lovey's article, Blackness, and what it really missed about what our whole critique. This is bigger than just Tevin Campbell. This is a whole statement about mimicking and buffooning African American culture. And I think that everybody that really doesn't see that, really doesn't understand our place in this country. This isn't just, Tevin Campbell is a flashpoint of a larger set of issues. Would you agree, Yvette? I'm going to keep going with the question.
I definitely agree.
Number four, does it change the allyship if, as pointed out by Henry Louis Gates, 90% of the slaves sold by blacks were sold by blacks, and the people here, maybe their descendants. This doesn't come from anywhere. This comes from Henry Louis Gates' New York Times article, and it also connects to a New Yorker article entitled "My Great Grandfather was a Nigerian Slave Trader," where it details slave trading by Nigerians. Amanda Seals spoke to fluidity of gender and constructs dissolving. Are we there yet if we live in a world where black men are largely the most incarcerated in modern history? Number six, African Americans are more than just Africans in America. There was an article on Madame Noir, and I want to kind of deal with that. Just came out today. Lovey, you are a guest of African American culture. Act accordingly. While I agree in somewhat with the title, I believe that even the author of that article misses the point. Yvette, I just want to get your general opinion on this, just right off the top.
Well, I think this is a conversation. This is something that should have happened a long time ago, right? And there's a reason why it didn't happen a long time ago. A lot of people have been playing a lot of games, and I don't know what the construct of that is, or the involvement of everybody, or how this thing is situated. But this idea that we have some type of automatic unity and solidarity based on like skin color or melanin has never been like a true solidarity. African countries don't even have solidarity on the continent of those 54 countries. So this idea, and I think what you're seeing is that. I think you're seeing that. I think you're seeing the manifestation of that. I think you're seeing people who kind of mimic us and come in here and get to know the culture, and then just kind of want to use that to advantage their own selves individually. There's a lot going on here.
Let me say this, because I ain't got much time with you. Shout out to Breaking Brown. We part of the answer on with the question.
I definitely agree.
Number four, does it change the allyship if, as pointed out by Henry Louis Gates, 90% of the slaves sold by blacks were sold by blacks, and the people here, maybe their descendants. This doesn't come from anywhere. This comes from Henry Louis Gates' New York Times article, and it also connects to a New Yorker article entitled "My Great Grandfather was a Nigerian Slave Trader," where it details slave trading by Nigerians. The next one is Amanda Seals spoke to fluidity of gender and constructs dissolving. Are we there yet if we live in a world where black men are largely the most incarcerated in modern history? Number six, African Americans are more than just Africans in America. There was an article on Madame Noir, and I want to kind of deal with that. Just came out today. Lovey, you are a guest of African American culture. Act accordingly. While I agree in somewhat with the title, I believe that even the author of that article misses the point. Yvette, I just want to get your general opinion on this, just right off the top.
Well, I think this is a conversation. This is something that should have happened a long time ago, right? And there's a reason why it didn't happen a long time ago. A lot of people have been playing a lot of games, and I don't know what the construct of that is, or the involvement of everybody, or how this thing is situated. But this idea that we have some type of automatic unity and solidarity based on like skin color or melanin has never been like a true solidarity. African countries don't even have solidarity on the continent of those 54 countries. So this idea, and I think what you're seeing in that, I think you're seeing that. I think it's in the manifestation of that. I think you're seeing people who kind of mimic us and come in here and get to know the culture and then just kind of want to use that to advantage their own selves individually. There's a lot going on here.
Let me say this, because I ain't got much time with you. Shout out to Breaking Brown. We part of the Angela Project. Angela Project is a 3-year march to commemorate 400 years of us being here in America under this oppression, not to celebrate it, but to celebrate the way that we rose up and were able to excel.
Every time you drive by an empty or abandoned mall, start visualizing King Kong-sized dollar signs. As out of the ashes of all these mall closures, a truly unprecedented...
Despite all of this, as we push forward, we have done this every year. This year will be in Louisville in September with Jesse Jackson, and then next year we'll end in Selma, Alabama. And I'm looking forward to this cooperative movement by the Cooperative Baptists, the National Baptists, and the Progressive Baptists. And I'm just thankful to Dr. Kevin Cosby for making us part of that. But I just want to start with the second question first. I know I shouldn't have put it second. Let's just go right to it. You got Lovey Ajayi, this Nigerian, I don't even know what her job is. She's just a commentator of some sort. I don't know how she got a special position to be commentating. When I visited to South Africa, it was so foreign to me that even if I spent years there, I would never feel like I have the right to comment on their culture. But somehow she has made herself, and we've allowed it, somebody who can comment while misspelling things on Twitter and articles on purpose. She has this history in Twitter of being highly offensive to African Americans. I mean, I want to share the tweets. I shared them earlier, but I want to share each tweet, and I just want you to just give me your opinion on each tweet as I share it, Yvette. The first one is at Just Flowing. Me, Akata, a whole me, a beg a comment from here. With that, nothing but Niger pumps through the blood of Yoruba. Again, Akata means wild animal, and what Lovey has said, that's a term that Nigerians use to describe American DOS, American Descendants of Slavery. What do you think, Yvette?
Well, yeah. I mean, and then we try to move around like this. And the thing is, like, I mean, yeah, because I don't say it. Like one tweet says, I don't use that word. But then you go back and there's another one where she says, like, no, I'm not a Kata. So you see like this whole masking of who you really are and putting on this kind of persona, this mimicking this African American face. The thing that you find is that white people are the only ones who do blackface. Right? That's what we're looking at.
Yeah, I mean, it's a powerful reality to deal with this consequence, and I think for a lot of black folks that's hard to digest. It's hard to deal with the reality that black folks have been left behind and are largely suffering as a result. The next one is, can someone explain why black folks don't like Haitians? Is it envy from not being able to end slavery quicker than that they were able to end slavery quicker than Americans? Shots fired. I mean, that shows a total lack of understanding.
What the hell you just said, Tom? What you mean end slavery, brother? We ain't never got out of slavery. But since I guess you one of them jack-leg con artists too, because I just seen you was doing something with Jesse Jackson. Nigga, yeah, you know Jesse Jackson is foul as hell, man. He the one who helped take out Martin Luther King. He was right there when Martin Luther King got took out, and then he took his place. You know how they do it. Ain't no love in war. And all fair in love and war, and ain't no honor among thieves. So what you talking about, man? What did you just say? Say that again for me. That we jealous of something. Are you Haitian too? Is you an immigrant, Tone? Tone talks. I don't give a damn if you a lawyer or not, nigga. I don't give a fuck how many degrees you don't got. Now I just asked you a question. What the hell you mean when black people got out of slavery? They still ain't got out of slavery because they gotta listen to a motherfucking slave master with a black skin like you, man. Fuck is you talking about? You need to correct yourself, man.
Of what American slavery was, what kind of oppression we went through. What do you think about her saying that, like, that we didn't answer? What is she talking about? Like,
you don't get a right. Like, no, the thing is, like, be here since 9. No.
Oh, okay.
Like
Okay, let me correct myself. If that lady said that, then I apologize. But if you said that, then I don't apologize.
To show you have to be immersed in this. You have to be. You don't know what it means to have ancestors that come from that and the systemic poverty that comes.
Because I don't give a damn if them people poor. Them people stick together and they got camaraderie and they come from this place where they, I don't know about Haiti, but I know about them other countries. Their government is helping them out, financing them secretly. Now, and when they get over here, their people is financing them secretly. So that we don't stick together like that in America. Only motherfucker financing jumping off over here is niggas selling some drugs on the under the table or something, or doing some under the table crime or something, some organized crime. That's about the only way we sticking together. Now, as far as all of this, motherfuckers trying to take over the stock market and all that, I don't think we sticking together on that. And getting a college degree, I don't think we sticking together on that. And voting all these coons and Uncle Toms out our motherfucking community. I don't think we doing that.
The poverty is still in the system. The poverty in the system, and the white people have the wealth in the system. All of that's still there. So it's just like I don't get to go to Nigeria. If I come here at 9 years old and start talking about what y'all should do.
Yeah, motherfucker, I don't get to go to no motherfucking China and get to say shit. I don't get to go to Mexico and say shit. So how the fuck you come to America and these faggot ass white folks let you tell me any motherfucking thing you want to, and then tell me they gonna throw me in jail if I tell your ass that you wrong and I feel disrespected. Now you see what I'm saying? So fuck you and the white man and them slave master ass motherfucking Democrats and bumpublicans.
Like, I don't think we understand how much we have given of ourselves by allowing everyone to be able to come in here and have a conversation about us and our slavery. And, y'all must be mad. Y'all didn't get y'all didn't take slavery as quick as Haiti. Like, you don't get to have that conversation, and that's what's been happening. Like, what happened this past week is that we finally, like, DOS community has been a sleeping giant, and I think what you saw this week was the giant waking up. And the giant said, you're not going to tell me, you're not going to come over here since 9, and your parents are over here, you have somewhere to go, something to do. And most of the Africans I know are always planning to go back home. You're not necessarily planning to retire here, and you think you have a voice. Even if you were to retire here, you have a homeland, you are anchored in a different culture, your family's that culture, and we can see that it's that culture because that's how you make so many missteps. You make so many missteps and said so much messed up stuff. People have been side-eyeing you for a long time, but wasn't nobody really willing to come for you. Or some people thought, like I thought, Leona, she was one of us. So I look at her, what's the name? Well, wait a minute, what's going on here? This sounds tone deaf. And then you research, and you're not even DOS. You're Nigerian. It's easy to joke about it. You don't experience the pain that comes with it. That's easy to joke about.
And in so many ways, I think what we're seeing is that black folks don't really understand how all of this undermines reparations. In order to bring reparations, it's going to have to be a legal claim. It can't just be like feelings and emotions. And you don't bring a legal claim against like oppression or slavery. You bring it against a damage that was brought by a particular actor. And in this case, it has to be a specific country. Our claim is against America. Haiti's claim is against the French. The Nigerians and the West Africans don't have a claim. And if they want to try to find an extended reason that they have a claim, I don't know. But I don't think we understand what's in our family. The cost of this, the brokenness, and the buffoonery that she's doing to make fun of this fact. Let me continue on and read a couple more. Weeks in my tea. Why you crying, Miss Sophia? Because I don't. So here you have her misspelling things on purpose to be almost buffoonish. I don't know, y'all know more. Dead. Shuck and jive game proper. Footworking looks like a slave tap dancing over hot coals to me. This is some of the most offensive stuff I've ever read from another black person, quote unquote, on Twitter. And I think you should get her account suspended. Like, it's that bad. Windy feet are the reason slaves created that song, Wade in the Water. It was an instructional, no Negro spiritual telling her to hide them. No, that's not. Wade in the Water was about giving slaves that were runaways directions. Do you understand the offensiveness of this woman saying what she says? Here's a lady who wrote the book about judging you, and Shonda Rhimes, one that everybody loves. Shonda Rhimes optioned the books, and here you have tweets from her that are some of the most offensive that I've read about black folks. You want to speak to this last one? It's particularly about slaves created the song "Wade in the Water."
Hey guys, it's Kevin Urita here from Boy Media, and today I want to go over some ads that I really like this week. Like I said, Facebook ad creators are probably the most important thing that you can be doing for your campaigns.
Not just. I want to speak to what you said first about her misspelling. Like I don't even do that or whatever. Or like she does a lot like talking about. She's like, you know what I'm talking about. And see, the thing about it is like I'm from the South. You hear that? I'm not saying you don't hear it in other places because we go all over and we have certain things out of vernacular in common. But that's really kind of a more often than not that's a southern kind of vernacular. You know what I'm talking about? I already know what I'm talking about. So that's how I hear it all the time, and I say it. And so I hear love you. You don't say it, love you. Like you don't. That's not how you talk. It's not even like you moved to Mississippi and you picked up that accent or dialect. You just mimicking and making fun of us. Like, it's different if somebody says it and that's where they're from. And they write it in there and they're joking because that's where they're from and that's where they're anchored. You're not doing that. You're just making fun of us. And we're not even realizing that, like, you're just mocking us. And you're mocking, like, when you talk about Wade in the Water, how do you get to mock this experience that is the most consequential thing in our lives in terms of our economic positionality, our hierarchy in this country? How do you get to even speak on that? And the problem that we have had so far is that as DOS people, we have never told these people that you don't get to talk about this. You don't get to have a conversation about this. You don't get to criticize me about this. You don't get to judge me at all. You're here because of me, so some difference.
This is another one, Yvette.
They is not here because of you, Yvette. They here because Reagan and Bush and all these other and Kamala and all of they people is in office and they brought them people here. The immigrants brought the immigrants here because they wouldn't even be talking no smack if they didn't have that much confidence. You know what I mean? They already know that they people running shit anyway on the under, and black people ain't running a damn thing except put a mouth on a microphone and shooting each other in the back on a rap song. So they ain't got no competition there. We don't even go to college. So it's like they just looking at us like, nigga, you supposed to get talked about because y'all don't stick together, so who gonna stand up for you? And since y'all orphans, nigga, don't nobody claim y'all. We just picking y'all off. Everybody picking y'all bones like if y'all was a skeleton or something. You know what I mean? Like your vultures. Like y'all was dinner for the vultures and shit, nigga. It's a normal thing, nigga. You dinner for the vultures, nigga. You half dead. You can't see your enemy, you can't see yourself, and you damn sure can't see that your leaders is selling you out. And that you don't got no country. Nigga, if you had a country, how the fuck am I over here telling you what to do? How am I over here running it? How the fuck am I over here telling you go back to Africa, but nigga ain't nowhere to go back to Africa. Don't nobody want your ass. You're an orphan, nigga. That's my country, not yours. Nigga, she the one from Nigeria, not me. I don't got no damn country.
Better owe my rent and give me, I'ma be an urban youth. I can't see the whole tweet, but she spells government, G-U-B-M-E-N-T. That's supposed to be government. Another one is, if I wear Gucci, if I were Gucci, I'd ban rappers from buying my shit. They done made that brand real ghetto. Gucci ought to sue Gucci Man. This is 2009. This shit writes. Do we understand what we would do if this was a white person? Is there a difference
Not a
between a
month,
white
not
person
nothing.
saying and somebody
You
from
wouldn't
West
do
Africa,
nothing.
the elite?
You
She
wouldn't
has a
do nothing.
tweet where she speaks to the fact that she didn't know nothing about like civil rights. She had a car and a driver. She didn't know nothing about what we were going through till she got here. Why is it that she get treated different because of blackness? You know, the article blackness and all this. What do you think about this? Let me read one more to you, Yvette. I want to get your direct. At Black Women, ghetto is if you're 21, your mama is 36, and your granny is 50, and you got a 6-year-old. I mean, come on, man. Now she's tied it. Go ahead, give me your opinion on that.
No, I'm just saying, if you see, you're talking about this is a scam. This is a scam that gets run on us all the time. Everybody wants to talk about the dysfunction in our family, and nobody wants to talk about where it originates from. All this brokenness, where it comes from. So wait a minute, we talk. Well, here in Louis Gates, you might have sold us into slavery and caused the brokenness, right? Sold us into slavery and caused the brokenness. Then come over here and make fun of the brokenness when it's not in your family. And then even when you talk about that, she said another one about if you're an urban youth and you buy these Gucci or whatever, you deserve to have your tubes tied. Do you know the history of eugenics in this country and how many minorities in this country? And I say minorities, there were other groups too. There were white women and a bunch of us who our history of eugenics, and there was a whole thing about that. Do you know anything about that? Do you know? I mean, you don't. You're the absolute wrong person with the wrong history. And everything that you say is very elitist. And so you are an elitist person. You admit in one of the tweets, I'm an elitist African. I wouldn't let my kid go to an HBCU. You admit that in one of the tweets, but you get to speak for us, and you talk about ratchet TV, and you say top bow and all this stuff. So it's obvious to me what you're doing is like this elitist kind of mimicking of who we are and everything that has happened to us. And it's easy because it's not impacting you. This is not your people. It's not your family.
Let me read two more. And before I read two more, you know, she has the podcast with the co-star from Insecure. They all tied together. The Regi, I believe is her last name. They on there doing DMX sounds, buffooning black culture yet again, and we're laughing with them like it's not funny. This is not a game. I don't think everybody understands what's going on. I don't think we understand the cliff that we on as African Americans. I did a video earlier. I talked about some numbers. We here to talk feelings right now. Let's get it. So let's talk about these last two tweets, and then I want to move on a little bit while I have you. Laughing my ass off. My sister just asked me, did Al Sharpton invent Kwanzaa? Child, the shade she just drew. This is a total disrespect of Kwanzaa and its creation, and I guess in '84. The last one, and this is the one I want you to speak to most. In honor. This is in 2011, she said this. In honor of Black History Month, IMA, stop shaming my ancestors and go wash and retwist my locks so they stop looking like slavery and oppression. Yvette, do I got you on the line?
Yeah.
I think we dropped off. I'm going to read that one more time. In honor of Black History Month, I'm going to stop shaming my ancestors and go wash and retwist my locks so they stop looking like slavery and oppression. I mean, that's some horrible stuff.
Yeah, it's horrible. And even with the Kwanzaa stuff, like it's you know, with DOS people who have issues with Kwanzaa and the person who started Kwanzaa and his role with the Fed, that would be a totally legitimate discussion to have, right? But us trying to come up, us like navigating or deciding that we're going to be a part of a holiday because we feel like we need something of our own, and that's why people kind of flock to it and try to develop principles. That all comes from that same brokenness and everything that we have come through in this country. You don't get to make fun of it. And why would you make fun of it? I think at a certain point you have to ask yourself, what kind of person would make fun of it? What kind of a person who's desperate, and a person who's a user, and a person who's just trying to come up, and a person who's looking out for their individual success, because you don't have to deal with it. You don't have to deal with the burden of being DOS in this country. You have your country.
Again, this is Dash Radio, Dash Talk X. You can catch this on Dash Radio or on YouTube, Tone Talks. Again, 323-230-4610 will be the call-in today. I want to hear from you, but look, Yvette, will Black Americans DOS have to draw new lines of engagement with newer immigrants. Whether they be Caribbean or West African, I believe they're fundamentally different though. Caribbean, many of these places have plantation slavery, which was different than chattel slavery, but it was slavery, transatlantic slave trade, drop people off. Whereas with the West Africans, we gotta ask the question, did your family sell slaves? We look at the Henry Louis Gates article, which I'll get to after I get off the line with you, and it says 90% possibly of black slaves were sold by Africans. They couldn't have done it without the Africans helping. Do we gotta draw new lines of engagement, Yvette?
We do. Yeah, of course we do. Like, especially when you look at how the line from 1980, how the number of black immigrants have exploded. What happens is that you are driving, and not only just taking the opportunities, but you're driving the conversation. And the conversation that we need to have is not the conversation that you're having. And remember what Dr. Sandy Darby said he talked to people in the missions and they like the Africans because they're more docile. I don't need more docile people here. I need people who are going to take up arms in the fight. If you're not going to be in the fight, I don't even need you here. If you're not going to be an ally and help me out and hush me, you're going to make fun of me and make fun of where I come from and make fun of the oppression and make fun of the failures in my life because of what happened to me and how I got here. I don't need you here. So we have to talk about who's going to lead this relationship in terms of America. DOS leads it. We don't need no other leaders. I turn on the TV now and I see you CNN. I go to Washington Post and it's all West African.
We had a lot of more. We had a lot of the same awful kind of statements coming out of Joy-Ann Reid. You know.
Yep.
This is you have to wonder how, because like I said this earlier. You can go through all my Twitter and all my I tell you to do it now. I ain't erased nothing. Go all the way back. You ain't gonna find nothing about like I'm just berating Nigerians and talking about how they talk or how they smell or the fact that their country is a developing nation. I don't have those tweets. I don't do that. I don't sit around and try to figure out how to finagle my way into the Eurobond. Understand that. And I'm saying to you, we look at this article, and I know I only got you for so long, but I got to get you to speak to this article and to Amanda Seals a little bit. Let me just brush through that. This article that so you came out with your show, and Lovey comes out with this article in response to your show largely, and it don't answer nothing from your show. The article is about blackness, Africanness, and when it's enough. That's not what your show was about.
No.
In the article, she talks about college is also where I reclaim my pride as a Nigerian. Being an immigrant in the United States as a young girl is difficult. Coming here with a strong accent, strange name, so she's trying to make herself the victim. You went out and did all these tweets, attacked Tevin Campbell, and now you gonna make yourself the victim. The only other time I've seen this is like white men. Come on.
And nobody ever said you weren't black. I hate to say, well, who owns blackness? Nobody said you weren't black.
We weren't talking about that. We ain't talking about that. What are we talking about, Yvette? What are we talking about, though? Explain it.
What we're talking about is you're not DOS. You don't have the history, you don't have the anchoring, and you can't speak on this. We're not talking about whether or not you're a black person. We're not talking about that. So what she really said, I said this before, either you're stupid or you think I'm stupid. Because either you're trying to just skate around this or you just don't understand what the debate is about.
You know, I'm gonna flesh that out. The way it was taught to me is ignorance is a lack of knowledge. Stupidity is when you know and you still can't figure it out. I think there's a severe cultural ignorance that we don't acknowledge. When I watch Issa Rae and Insecure, I watched the YouTube series before I watched the show. I don't think y'all see the gaps. She's struggling. She struggles with, like, especially when you watch the YouTube, she rapping in the mirror. That's not stuff my mama ever did. Come on. That's stuff that I see from like foreigners. You trying to learn the language, learn the culture. That's what Lovey speaks to in the article. We gonna get to it. Come on. I don't think y'all understand what it is, the confidence it comes with to be American DOS and know exactly that you American DOS. You don't tweet, I don't. You don't tweet, I don't. Out loud. So let's get to it. She said, I started college, this is Lovey speaking, by mimicking the way my classmates spoke. Well, where else have we seen that? We seen it on Issa Rae's YouTube series when she was mimicking the rappers. She was just mimicking them, learning their cadence, their tone. Now they got better at it. So y'all think that they're the same as y'all, but they laughing. Yvette, you want to speak to this mimicking? Let me ask you, can an African, a West African do blackface? Is this blackface? I'm asking you, Yvette.
Why can't they?
Yeah, they
Why
can.
can't they? Listen, you know, one of the things
Any other ethnic group could do it. That's just like the word nigger. I mean, what is that? Ain't that blackface? It really, the word nigger really mean orphan, right? It don't mean. It really mean orphan. It don't mean black. You know what I mean? The word nigger, what does that mean? That means somebody that don't have a home, somebody that don't have a family, somebody that don't have an identity and a culture. That's what that word meant, right? Because it was given to him by the slave master, right? And then he was like, you just a robot, you don't exist, you just exist to do this work, and that's it. And that's all you need to know is how to do this work, and that's it. Don't even try to use your mind to even comprehend anything else, such as a culture or religion or a connection with your spirit or any of that other stuff, right? Or even and especially don't try to connect to my culture. You know, you can try, but we ain't gonna let you in. So I don't know where you gonna go with that, except either back out there to pick some more cotton into the penitentiary or the insane asylum, mental institution, pill car.
Over here,
You can try, but we ain't gonna let you in.
Elite people are elite.
We're gonna invite somebody else to take your place.
If you're the elite over there,
After you do all the work.
You don't know anything about solidarity. We're 14% of the population here. We're very unique in terms of being. You come from all black. You don't know anything about solidarity in terms of that. Like you have to, in order to learn it, you have to really anchor yourself in it. That's not what you did though. That's what them bougie tweets show. Them bougie tweets show that you never really tried to even navigate your way into being an ally. You didn't even try to do that. You didn't even go that route. You said, I wouldn't send my kids to HBCU. I'm just telling you, that's just the elite Africanism. That shows me you're still proud of being elite. And you're going to combine forces with the elite in this country. That's just how it works.
You know, the last two things I'm going to say is she says, I am black, I am Nigerian, I am Yoruba, I am Chicagoan, I am Nigerian American. Hold on, you just said I am Nigerian. Now you Nigerian American. See, that's the kind. Most of them don't even use the word American after they're Nigerian. That's what you don't know. Like, you got to really, like, I don't think we understand.
Amanda Fielding, I watched the interview with her on CNN yesterday, and she was talking about, she was basically trying to get people arrested for catcalling, and she said, well, I'm Grenadian. She didn't say I'm Grenadian. She said, I'm Grenadian.
That's what she said.
Own that then.
And you see this here in this article. It jumps from I am Nigerian to I am Nigerian American. And I think what's happening is a question of like, who's gonna be in the room for us? Because we look at Barack Obama with the "My President is Black" with Ta-Nehisi Coates, and everything he said was against reparations. Your first black president spoke against reparations more than most of the white presidents in recent years. Outwardly. That y'all don't get it because nobody else should have to pay for it. Including my own family. I'm Kenyan. You know? Why should we have to pay for what happened to y'all? We didn't do it. It don't work that way, fool. And I said fool. Understand that it don't work in a way where you if there's police brutality in Los Angeles and you from Philadelphia and you move here next year, the police brutality happened 2 years before you got here. And they gotta settle with the guy. You don't get to say, I don't want to pay for reparations. What you have to do is you have to pay your taxes, and they got to disseminate those taxes based on what the city owe for roads and for that damage. We can't live with this damage in our families.
Yeah, and if you don't want to pay for it, you can go home. People are like, well, I've been here since I was a baby. I was born here. Well, I don't know what to tell you. Find somewhere to be. Find an island or something. I don't know. There are other options, but this is how it works here. I can't have you here thinking you have a vote on whether you have to. Whether this is an American debt. If you want to be a part of this country, you have to pay that debt. I don't want to pay for bombs that fall in places, but that's just taxes does what taxes does. That you don't get to do taxes a la carte and say, well, I don't want to pay for the bombs, but I want to pay for
happens? What happens if it comes out that Lovey family sold slaves? I'm saying this because we got the article from the New Yorker about the Igbo woman who got honest about like my great grandfather, the Nigerian slave trader, and she just talks about like how intimate it was. I think that the vastness in terms of the amount of time and also how complete it was up and down the West African coast is something that's been the hidden truth behind this whole thing. So what happens if we start naming the list, and a lot of the West Africans, you got Lovey is Yoruba, and I believe David Owalo's Yoruba. Elite. What if their family sold slaves? Why are we not asking that question? What does it mean if they did? You got the Igbo. You got a bunch of Igbo around here. The woman that wrote the article is Igbo. Another group that sold slaves. What I'm asking you is, Yvette, what happens if we come to a real? Does an apology work anymore? Do you just gotta be separate from our group? You not.
Look, even if you're an ally, we're separate. We just can get together and form alliances based on the needs of different communities. But we're still a separate group. Like if Indian Americans decide that they want to have an alliance with Mexican Americans or Latinos or whatever, that doesn't make them the same people. It just means that they have things in common that they're working toward. They're working towards similar goals. You're still not the same people. No matter how this pans out, we're still not the same people. And we should never do this whole thing where we try to flatten out these groups and make us the same as other groups because of kinky hair and darker skin. That's not how it works.
But hone that down. I think the question needs to be asked, not just of Lovey, but it just needs to be answered succinctly every time. If your family sold slaves, does it change things in terms of your orientation with us? If the wealth that you sit on, the life that you sit on as a West African, when you come over here and you had a car is undergirded, because it's not like distant. Like the girl, go read the New Yorker article. My Nigerian great-grandfather sold slaves. The place that she's talking about, her umbilical cord is buried, came from the slave money. They passed down the chains that they were slaving transatlantic slaves with. Does it change things, Yvette?
It changes everything. Because we've been in this whole binary situation where white people bad, brown people good. And what has to happen is that we have to throw all of that away. And we have to have a new framework for how we define our allies. So you can say, well, our allies are going to be based on ideology, and the first thing that we're going to have to say is, what do you believe in reparations in order for you to be an ally? We have to have a whole new framework for how we define who is going to be an ally. This whole thing where we define it based on some assumed kinship that does not exist, based on groundness, doesn't work.
Yvette, one last question. I know you got to go. I appreciate you calling into the Tone Talk Show. Amanda Seals spoke to fluidity of gender and constructs dissolving, and I don't believe we're there. I think incarceration alone shows that, along with wealth inequality unlike we've ever seen in our lifetime. You want to speak to the Amanda Seals thing one last time?
Well, I just want to say it was very just confused and erratic and just weird and all sorts of ways. She came out like, who's black enough? Was Angela Rye not black enough? And what about Tiffany Haddish? I never said Angela Rye couldn't speak because she was black. I said Angela Rye's data was wrong. And I said Angela Rye, we can't understand the situation of black people through Angela Rye's friends, because she said, well, I have friends who are doing well. It don't matter. I never said Tiffany Haddish wasn't black. I said I wished her well, and she grew up and she had a hard life. And I said, but she shouldn't have been celebrated. I said the people who paved the way most for her to be where she was were black female comics, and she should have shown much more respect to them than to an Eritrean daddy who just basically was a deadbeat to her. That's what I said. And see what happened with Amanda Seals is that she couldn't hit that curve. And what I mean when I say you can't hit that curve is some people that can only drive straight. So when you go around rocks, they can't drive with you. If you go real fast around the corner, they can't go with you. If you speed up and you go around the car, they can't go with you. She can only drive straight. So she ran into a bunch of stuff the other night. And that's why she was upset and watching everybody on Twitter and talking all night. I was asleep and she was still talking. Yeah, you won't still talk because you hit that curve.
Man, Yvette, thank you so much. I hope you enjoy the rest of your trip. We're going to get it in. Look, what we gonna do right now? I want to play a clip from Lyndon Johnson. I want to play a clip from Lyndon Johnson and give you guys some context on why affirmative action exists. It's about 2 minutes long. Stick with me, and we gonna get it going.
Freedom is the right to share fully and equally in American society. To vote, to hold a job, to enter a public place, to go to school. It is the right to be treated in every part of our national life as a person equal in dignity and promise to all others. But freedom is not enough. You do not wipe away the scars of centuries by saying now, you are free to go where you want and do as you desire and choose the leaders you please. You do not take a person who for years has been hobbled by chains and liberate him, bring him up to the starting line of a race, and then say, you are free to compete with all the others, and still justly believe that you have been completely fair. Thus, it is not enough just to open the gates of opportunity. All our citizens must have the ability to walk through those gates. And this is the next and the more profound stage of the battle for civil rights. We seek not just freedom, but opportunity.
Yeah, man. I just wanted to play that for y'all. That's President Lyndon Johnson. When a president speaks, where he speaks is just as important as what he says. Lyndon Johnson, responsible for so many advancements in black life, in American DOS life, let alone Caribbean and West African life, in terms of setting the stage for black people to finally have access to some point to America. He speaks at Howard University. He says, he talks about all of the cost, not of having melanin, the cost of coming from slaves, chains, hobbled. I don't think we really understand the kind that's going on. I'm saying this to you because it's real. Your family about to starve if you don't deal with it. In fact, they might already be starving. If they drive an Uber, they not stable. They not right now. Now, I'm not blaming a West African, but I am saying that they're part of a system that is basically masking the reality of the failure of American DOS in this country and how complete it is across this country. This is the discussion that ain't nobody been having. I want to give you a chance to call in 323-230-4610. You know, Dash Radio, Dash Talk X. We having this discussion. This has been a powerful day. I got Yvette in here and talked a little long with her. If it ends up not being that many callers, because, you know, I understand, because I got started a little late, I'm in a different studio. I think for a lot of us, what's starting to happen is that we can't really grasp the severity of the moment. This is real. You want your kids to go to college and you have no fund. You want your kids to go to college and you don't have a college fund. You want your kids to go to college and you still paying off student loans. Do you understand the need for reparations? Again, 323-230-4610. Henry Louis Gates wrote this article. He wrote this article
How black middle class kids
entitled
became
"Ending the Slavery Blame
poor.
Game." I think we got a caller. Let's take that call.
Adults.
We got a couple minutes. We got Tone Talks here. You called here. Let's have the discussion.
I'm gonna keep it real short, please, Mr. Moore, because I know we don't have a whole lot of time to get right to the business. First and foremost, I want to thank you. I want to thank you and Miss Carnell for the energy. I want to thank you guys for what y'all put out there. You see what I'm saying? Because we have to understand what we're up against in order to fight this fight. You got to understand the war that you're in. You got to understand what you've been engaged in. Thank you. I'm a coming man. I'm American DOS to the fullest.
Let me say this. Let me jump in here and say and back you up. You know, like the fella before me, I don't know his age or nothing. Look, the way that we think of it, we read it like 1808, they said they stopped sending slaves. Now they just built faster ships. That's not what happened in 1808. It wasn't like the way we think of law, like
Built
you
bigger
murder somebody,
prisons.
you go to jail, and they got DNA and all that. They were still sending ships. They just made them faster, and they made them. Like, I don't think we really understand the danger of saying that slavery didn't happen. Like that, I hear it.
And pass new laws to put you in one.
What make we respect you and Miss Carnell the most is that you guys provide the data.
Yeah.
You don't have to like me as a person. You don't have to care about me as a person. You can have whatever. But if the data reflects that what you guys are saying, when you go do your own research, just like the same thing they tell you when you go to church, then you can't deny what's being. Matter of fact, they violate now 1 through 27, sir.
So let me read you the same section. Let me read you this section. How did slaves make it to these coastal ports? Historian John Thornton and Linda Haywood of Boston University estimate that 90% of those shipped to the New World were enslaved by Africans and then sold to European traders. The sad truth is that without complex business partnerships between African elites and European traders and commercial agents, the slave trade of the New World would have been impossible. I'm just saying, if that's true, what does that mean to you?
For me, that means that it's an obvious disservice being done to the DOS. That's what that means to me.
Obvious disservice.
I'm not as educated as you or anyone else that may be calling in, but I'm educated in life. I live. I understand.
To DOS.
I live. And I go off what then. People in general go off what you see, first and foremost. So if you can provide me the data, regardless of how I feel emotionally about it, I can go do my own research. No, sir. No, you can't do this. They're violating.
Man,
the Koch brothers.
let me say.
Something about the Koch brothers cannot do what they're doing. That's why they created laws. That's why they created certain things against monopolizing things. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Monopoly.
Yeah, I do, caller. Let me jump in here.
You cannot do that.
Caller, thank you so much. The lines are lit. I only got a couple minutes left. Thank you for calling.
Yes,
let's take one more caller and start to close up. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, how you doing, brother? It's Twan, man. I'm from Cleveland. I've been listening to you, bro. I want you to know I support you.
I appreciate that, bro. What you think about this topic? You the last caller of the night.
Yeah, man. You speak with a lot of knowledge, bro. But I kind of feel where you're coming from. Blacks, they got to come to the realization, man, that everything was stolen. You know, the concept of wealth really don't exist. If you can steal these people's earthly possessions and knock them completely out the system, then that's what gives that materialism value. So I totally understand where you're coming from, bro, and I respect what you're doing, and I totally agree with you.
Thank you so much, caller. I'm gonna end the calls there, and I'm gonna give my summation. This is, the thing that's happening right now is that we dealing with race and we struggling with it. But it don't matter if you're struggling with it if you don't got no wealth. It don't matter what you feeling if you can't pay for that college. I'm telling you now, you ain't gonna be able to make it without reparations, transformative government, and dollars in your pocket in this rich America. I'm looking around and I'm seeing my people and they supporting all the wrong things. We read the tweets to you earlier. Ain't no answer gonna deal with it that undermines reparations. Saying there wasn't no slave boats or slavery didn't happen or whatever you say to yourself about how this all went down. I'm telling you right now, the reality is your family is here and dealing with all of the oppression and systemic costs of slavery, Jim Crow, and mass incarceration. I look, and there's an article that came out today, Madam Nowhere. What it was titled was, Lovey, you are a guest of African American culture, act accordingly. In it, the author is African, and she says, and since Lovey ended her piece on the same note, talking about Lovey's piece about blackness, It began with blatant confusion. I thought she might benefit from a more direct explanation of her transgressions. So from one African to another, Lovey, you are a guest of African American culture, act accordingly. While she gets some of it right, meaning the author, she doesn't understand this ain't about Tevin Campbell. This is about an utter core disrespect for the realities of what blackness in America means and the uniqueness of that. And this is not just to say that nobody else is black, but as Adichie showed in the New Yorker article that I covered in my prior video, you can see that, the idea of blackness can be ran away from in a country like Nigeria that's all black. What we're dealing with here is fundamentally different. And you don't just have to deal with it by not getting a taxi or somebody calling you a nigga and confusing you with American DOS. You get it with the cost of your mama having no money, your granddaddy having no money, and everybody around them having no money. You get it with the cost of the lostness, of the brokenness that slavery left behind. Immeasurable in cost. For me, I'm looking at all of this and I'm just saying, it's going to have to be a new counting done. American DOS are going to have to start evaluating themselves beyond the term of African American. We're going to have to start doing the work. I want to say thank you for tuning in. This is Tone Toss. Please, we're going to be here every Friday.
Go to ab705.org to see if your community college is failing you.
I'm Nick Johnson, and I'm doing a demographic project on the different races in America.
Oh, yeah, yeah, alright. Tie down with it, tie down